tens of thousands still missing. 1 week after the devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake shattered parts of Turkey and Syria.
Russia continues its push to seize more land in Donetsk as the battle for Bakhmut rages on.
The US shoots down a fourth flying object in 8 days, ensuring citizens there is no national security concern, but putting authorities on heightened alert.
Cyprus elects its youngest ever president, Nikos Christodoulidis, who has vowed to unite the divided Mediterranean island. The Kansas City Chiefs become NFL champions after a thrilling comeback against the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl.
An extraordinary and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws. The definition of a miracle applies to spending 140 hours under the rubble of a collapsed building in freezing temperatures and coming out alive. Fatma, who's 25 and from Syria, did just that. And the team of firefighters who spent nearly a day to get her out were elated.
Çok mutluyum. Bir canlıya daha ulaştık. İnşallah bundan sonra daha çok canlı çıkartmaya umut ediyoruz. İnşallah bu binamıza daha çok yaşama ulaşacağız. Devam, çalışmaya devam. Durmak yok.
And they did keep going through yet another night, their fifth in a row.
Abi takip ediyoruz, gazeteciyiz abi.
Later, when we met the same group of firefighters who came to Antakya from Konya, they were rushing to another search site. Under daylight, the extent of the devastation caused by two major earthquakes that hit Turkey and Syria 1 week ago is overwhelming, even to the most experienced. But the only thing you will hear from these men is that nothing will stop them.
It's worth it.
There's not a lot of time for talking. Multiple searches are ongoing simultaneously across the city, and this group, who so far pulled more than 160 people out of the rubble alive, hopes to keep breaking records and performing miracles.
Geldiğimiz enkazda canlı emaresine rastladık. Arama kurtarma köpeğimiz gece şu an arama başlatıyor. Oradan alacağımız sonuca göre arkadaşlarla birlikte devam edeceğiz. Bizler Müslüman insanlarız. İnancımıza göre hiçbir zaman ümidimizi kaybetmeyiz. Allah'tan hiçbir zaman ümit kesilmez. Çok uzun sürelerden sonra canlı çıkardığımız kişiler oldu.
Annelies Borges in Antakya, southern Turkey, for Euronews.
Önce bir rol başlıyor. Bir rol. Bir şey varsa önce geceyi salıyorsun, sonra dinleme cihazı getiriyorsun.
Turkey has experienced earthquakes before. It straddles several fault lines, but tremors of this magnitude in this particular region of the southeast of the country and northern Syria are rare.
Large earthquakes of about magnitude 7 in Turkey might happen between every few hundred years. They're more common in the north along a fault called the Northern Anatolian Fault than they are where this earthquake happened, where they may only happen every 500 years or so.
After the earthquake hit, thousands of buildings collapsed, adding to the devastation. And though modern structures are better equipped to withstand shaking, some of the region's older buildings crumbled. It's an ongoing problem, and governments have some difficult decisions to make.
We do a thing called retrofitting, where we try to increase the capacity of these buildings to earthquake. The problem with that is it's quite expensive.
For now, it's a balancing act.
It's difficult because the earthquake, it might be 500 years until it happens again, right? So do you invest the money? Do you design your buildings? Do you retrofit all your buildings to withstand this kind of shaking? If you do, however, it does make a very big difference that the buildings are much less likely to collapse.
We only know for sure how good something is when the next earthquake strikes, because all that happens is that the earthquake finds the next weakest link in the chain.
Rescuers continue to evacuate sick and injured civilians from Avdiivka in Ukraine's Donetsk region, despite ongoing shelling near the city by Russian troops. Over the weekend, Russian forces have continued to shell cities in the east as part of a concerted push to seize more land. A spokesman for Russia's Ministry of Defense said on Sunday that the southern grouping of the Russian armed forces in the Donetsk area eliminated more than 250 Ukrainian soldiers, 12 pieces of equipment, as well as an artillery depot in a day. In his nightly address, Ukrainian President Zelensky applauded efforts by Ukraine's energy workers for trying to keep people warm in the face of more strikes on the country's infrastructure. Fighting remains intense around Bakhmut in the east, where wave after wave of mercenaries from Russia's notorious Wagner Group have been sent into battle. The long-drawn-out fight for the town has been called a war within a war. If the Ukrainian defenders of Bakhmut were to withdraw, it would pave the way for Russia to push towards bigger cities in eastern Ukraine, including Kramatorsk and Sloviansk.
Set in the region of Bucha, north of Kyiv, the village of Gorenka was one of the most hard hit in the area in the first weeks of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. More than 1,000 buildings were destroyed here, among which many private residences. This used to be the home of Tetiana and her family. A group of young volunteers have come to her rescue to clear the debris.
На жаль, у власників цих будинків немає можливості, немає коштів, щоб відбудувати це за власний рахунок, тому що вони, коли вони втрачають абсолютно все. Тому ми, в принципі, як і волонтери, тому і працюємо тут безкоштовно, щоб допомогти їм. Це займає багато часу, сили, але просто немає іншого варіанту, щоб просто розчистити територію.
Tetiana's property was burnt to ashes after a bomb fell into the yard. The volunteers' efforts have brought her back hope.
Вони мені прям підняли мене з того світу, можна сказати. Зараз ми розчищаємо територію, щоб можна було щось тут подальшому відновлюватись.
So even
енергетика моєї бабусі, мами, моя. Саме це місце я люблю. Більш нікуди не хочу, тільки тут.
The volunteers have pledged to help until the land is completely cleared up. It's impressive. They filled this truck in less than an hour, and it's the second one they load today. Roman is a 20-year-old math student. Like everyone else here, he dedicates his spare time to rebuilding his country.
It's like almost a year that the war started, and there's still a lot of ruins that need to be removed and rebuilt. So we need a lot of hands. There's still a lot of work to do. It could be me. I live 5 kilometers from here, and this could be my home. So if I don't help him, the people that live here, then who will?
Valery Goria in Gorenka, Ukraine, for Euronews.
The US has shot down another unidentified flying object in the fourth military operation of its kind this month. This one downed near Lake Huron, close to the Canadian border, on Sunday afternoon.
This thing is so weird.
It was first detected above military sites in Montana and comes just a week after US fighter jets brought down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The object had been hovering over the country for days. Officials say it had been used to monitor sensitive sites, China maintains it was a civilian meteorological airship that had blown off course. 4 flying objects in North American airspace have been shot down in just 8 days, increasing diplomatic tensions between the US and China.
Nikos Christodoulides was elected president of Cyprus in a runoff election on Sunday. Exit polls showed he had between 50.5 and 53.5% of votes. Christodoulides was backed by centre and right-of-centre parties. He will be the 8th person to hold the office, ruling for 5 years. His rival, veteran diplomat Andreas Mavroyiannis, conceded defeat.
The Kansas City Chiefs pulled off a thrilling comeback to win this year's Super Bowl 38-35 against the Philadelphia Eagles. The victory in Phoenix, Arizona sees the Chiefs become NFL champions for the second time in 4 years. The Chiefs trailed for much of the game and were 27-21 down heading into the final quarter, before a dramatic late fight back helped them claim American football's most coveted trophy and title.
Perhaps more show-stopping than the Super Bowl performance itself, Rihanna revealed a growing baby bump in her much-anticipated return to the stage on Sunday night, breaking the internet and melting hearts. 4 years since her last live performance, 7 since her last studio album, the Barbados singer was sure to make a statement and once again is setting the rules for maternity fashion. She performed well-known hits like We Found Love, Diamonds and Umbrella to the screams and cheers of adoring fans as the Philadelphia Eagles played the Kansas City Chiefs.